Okay, homework time again. So, got my highlighter, my pen, pencil, calculator, ruler, because these are the things that we need. And the joy of joys, a graph. So this is question 2 out of the upper 6 task booklets, and it's a different number in the lower 6 one. Anyway, there we go. So the graph below shows how the rates of transpiration and water absorption of a plant changed over 24 hours. So we need to look, first of all, this is one of these weirdy graphs. We've got time along the bottom, we've got water absorbed up the side, so going up from, the scale's the same, and water transpired in grams. I don't know why they didn't just put those two on the same axis, but they didn't. So we've got water transpired and water absorbed, and the first thing to do with the graph is to sort out what it's telling you. So this is water being lost from the leaves, and this is water being gained from roots. So we can see that at 0 hours, which is midnight and 24, we've got quite low rates of, what's this one, water loss, and then it accelerates, reaching a peak about there, and then we get less and less and less water loss. So here I'm thinking that stomata are opening, and here I'm thinking stomata is shutting. If I could spell it would be handy, wouldn't it? Stomata closing. So we've got the same thing going on with the roots, in that we start off quite low, we're absorbing more water, presumably to replace that loss. It's being pulled through, isn't it? So water pulled through, and I'm thinking cohesion tension. I haven't looked at the question, so but it started me thinking about water transport, so that when I do look at the questions I'll be thinking about the right topic, and then that decreases. And then another good thing to look for on graphs is points of overlap, so where they cross over. So all of this bit here, we've got more water lost than gained. So that might be a bit of an issue. So I think I've exhausted that graph now. So first question, compare the rates. Compare the rates over the 24. So we want both of these. So compare means say something about each. So the first thing I'm going to say is that they both increase up to and I want to say so because I've been given a graph and I've been given numbers on it, so I'm just going to, oh, look at that, how handy is a ruler to have. I'm going to take it to there. Oh, this is a weird scale, isn't it? Because that's the other thing to look for, of course. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be 14. So that's sort of 15, maybe half 3. Yeah. Just after 3 o'clock. So the first thing I'm going to say is that they both increase up to just, I'm going to say 3:30. Okay. Both increase in rate up to 15:30, and then both decrease. So that's good. So these are pretty similar graphs, so it's not like they're doing something really different. So what else could I comment on if I'm comparing? I could compare, because the scales are the same, what's being lost and what's being gained. So this is my water lost one, isn't it? And that's peaking at there. And again, scale. Oh, that's a bit easier. That one's 30, so that's about... Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 30. 28. It's just, oh, that'd be 29. About 29 and a half. Okay. So, water transpired. Peaks at 29 grams. Okay. And water absorbed peaks at no, that's nice and easy, that's 20, isn't it? 20 grams. See the usefulness of a ruler when you're dealing with graphs. And the other thing I can say is that between, so I can sort out some more hours here, can't I? So that's there to there. Times that then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 18, about 19. Okay, so between 4 and 19 hours transpiration exceeds, what do I like that word, exceeds absorption. So let me just check now, so compare. I'm saying both. I've got a number off, I've got a time number. I've got some more numbers off my graph. I'm hoping that that is, and I've said something about each transpiration and absorption, and I've put some numbers off the graph. I'm hoping that's worth at least 1 mark. And then I've put something to compare this bit where then where this is bigger. So I've been using all my comparison words, like both do this, this does this, and that does that, and that nice comparison here. So that's good. By how many times does the rate of water absorption increase from its lowest to its highest? So let's see, put my ruler on again. Lowest point 4, highest point 20. Highest equals 20 grams. I want to know how much more my high point is than my low point. How many times can I fit that 4 grams into 20? So I'm going to do 20 over 4 equals 5 times. Very good. And I did that in my head, but obviously in an exam, if you're not very confident with maths, you could just do that. It would give you the same answer. Although you are the mental maths generation, I've got to say. So, between which times? So I want some times off the graph. Is it most likely to wilt? What does wilting mean? Wilting means going floppy because all your cells have gone flaccid. Oh, and then we've got this explain again. Let's give reasons. So time's dead easy, because we've already said this, haven't we? So most likely to wilt. When's it going to go floppy? It's going to go floppy when it's losing more mass than it's gaining. So I've already got those times. So I've got 4 to 19 hours. And our explanation, because between these times more water is transpired than absorbed. Yeah, that would probably do it, but hang on a minute, it's for 4 marks. So if it's for 4 marks, I'm going to need to say something else than that. So cells are losing water and becoming flaccid. So now I think I've said two more points, but they're a bit meh, stating the obvious. But you know, maybe that's what the examiner wants me to do. Briefly describe the process involved in opening of stomatal pores. So this is the story. You need to be able to tell it backwards and forwards, so you need to be able to tell the closing and the opening. You need to realise which one you're telling. They're both pretty straightforward. This you just have to learn. So potassium ions, and of course we can call those K+, that's the same, are actively transported. Straightforward. This is what's in your notes, this is what you learnt, into the guard cells. Now you do need to be careful there, because I don't know how many times in my life I've read actively transported into the stomata, but that's a hole, so presumably they all then fall on the floor like confetti. So it does need to be into the cells. Starch is converted to malate. And these solutes, I'm going to start a new sentence, these solutes lower the water potential of the guard cells. You can't just say lower water potential, so you're not saying what it's the water potential of. So water moves into the cells, by osmosis. The guard cells become turgid, and as the inner wall is thicker, and yet can I just remind you that it is always thicker, it doesn't change in thickness, it's always thicker. You lay down a cell wall, it's there for life, not just for Christmas. Guard cells become turgid as the inner wall is thicker, the cells bend and open the pore. Okay, that is a story that you need to know. I think a really good way of sort of these sequences is to either make yourself a set of post-its and see if you can move them back into position. Once you've moved them out, if you put some numbers on the back, it will help you to check. Things like reading that account out onto your phone, listening to it, listening to it, listening to it, just like you'd learn the words of pop song.